Okay. Hello. Mm. Let's see how we're doing. Usually I do a little warning, so I just didn't put that up. So let me just put a little warning. The Coronacast Comedy Show is about to start in 2 minutes. I will start today's episode in 2 minutes. I hope you're doing well. If any of you, this is the first time you're tuning into the Coronacast Comedy Show, this is a show where I, stand-up comedian Deliso Chaponda, a comedian who normally would be performing in theaters. Oh, I'm almost heartbroken talking about it. Comedy clubs around the world, because of the coronavirus, has been for at least 3 months just broadcasting from my flat, currently in my kitchen, and I'm going to tell you all some jokes, make you entertained. I will officially start the show in around 1 minute. Actually, I can get started. I see there is not a lot of people, but there are around 20 people across platforms, and that's more than enough for me to start the show. How are you all doing? Hello to Mary Martin from California. Oh, you may be the first person watching today. Very good to have you in the room. Hello, Femboy. Good to have you here. Oh, also, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I had decided to do something for the first time today, and I forgot to set it up. I was advised by somebody, if you give me 1 second, to see if I could simultaneously go live on Instagram, because this is currently being watched on. So if you give me just a moment of your indulgence, I guarantee you this is a very funny episode. So if you let me set up my little Instagram rig, and then we'll get started. Actually, I can explain while I do it. So today's episode, it's bloody hot. Okay, it's bloody hot right now. I'm boiling, and I did not feel like doing a lot of research or the kind of thing I usually do if I'm writing a deep dive on a subject, or if I am doing a stand-up comedy based on audience suggestions. So I was like, what do I do? So I decided to do a voice note episode. Now, anybody who is a comedian or a writer probably knows this about stand-up comedians, okay? So if you're walking around and you hear something funny, right? Something interesting or funny, what you often will do is you'll be like, I might be able to use that in a joke. And you will just record a quick voice note, okay? And then some of them make sense to you later, some of them don't. So for example, here. There should be like a Julian Assange kind of guy asking for asylum in the Malawi embassy. Like there, I don't know if you heard it, but it was me randomly somewhere thinking of how weird it would be if Julian Assange asked for asylum somewhere like Malawi, where they really don't have much equipped in the embassy for them. And then I never ever wrote it into a joke. I never turned it into a joke. Let's look at another clip. I have hundreds of these voice clips. Okay, here's another one. So the idea of nationhood, is a construct, right? But does it still actually apply to life now? Because I actually think... Okay, that was me. Sometimes I get philosophical because I was like, I need to talk about the idea of nationhood and whether the idea of nationhood actually does apply in the modern world. And just so you know, I wanted to give you one example of it where it does end up being a brilliant joke. So I've got the knowledge, but none of the stamina. I'd make a great coach. Okay, so there, if you heard the note, it was, I've got the knowledge, I don't have the stamina, I would make a great coach. This was a voice note which I wrote around a year and a half ago, and it turned into a joke about how, when I was young, when you're young, you've got all of the stamina, all of the sexual potency and stamina, but you don't have the knowledge, right? So you're just messing around like an idiot in the bedroom. You don't have the knowledge, and then you get to my age where you're 40, right? And you've got all the knowledge now, right? You've got the knowledge. You theoretically should be better at pleasing women because you know what not to do. You've made all the mistakes. But at the same time, your body's falling apart. You don't look as good as you used to. You don't have the stamina. You get a cramp in the middle. And I realized that actually my best role nowadays in giving a woman an orgasm would be on the side of the bed as a coach. As some 20-year-old is banging away, I'm yelling out helpful suggestions. Get your hips into it. right? So that is how a voice note eventually becomes a joke. So what I decided to do today was look through my voice notes, okay, take around 6 or 7 of the best voice notes, turn them into jokes, and that's going to be today's episode. I might give up on this uh streaming it on Instagram as well, because I totally forgot until I was on. I've got it standing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do this. Let's do this. Okay. So people who are on Twitch, hola. People who are on YouTube, hola. We are adding an extra. No, it's not happening. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay. So let's get started with the jokes. I tried bravely and I failed. Okay. So first thing which I decided I had a voice note about is I realized that I wanted to talk about Idol Backlash number 3. What do I mean by Idol Backlash number 3? I don't know if I killed my phone in what I was trying to do. I don't know if you can see that, but it just has a weird message on it. Oh dear. I hope I did not kill my phone. Okay. So Idol Backlash number 3 is there've been over the last few years cases where people who are very famous have had a backlash against them, right? But previous years, it's generally been people who have done something criminal, right? So, for example, if you consider the case of people like Kevin Spacey, people like R. Kelly, who did something criminal, and then there's a backlash against them, or there's been a backlash against people who've said something racist or something like that. But this year, some of the people who there's a backlash against are these beloved women, and it seems surprising to me. So I'm talking about, for example, J.K. Rowling. Big backlash against J.K. Rowling because people don't agree with some of the stuff she said politically. Recently, this week, a lot of backlash against Ellen, right? Ellen, because of rumors that she's mean, right? That she's mean. And I'm like, this is a very odd thing to be having a backlash over. Being a mean? How small a thing is that? But no, I was arguing with a friend of mine about, who cares if she's mean? Bosses are mean. And she was like, but there was also like sexual harassment going on in her company. And I was like, she was sexually harassing people. No, she wasn't. But it was going on around her show, so she must have known. And I was like, how do you know she must have known? Oh, people always know. And I don't know. My experience is people hide the deviant things you're doing, right? They don't tell you. Like, it's happened in the comedy circuit where, some comedian has been revealed as taking advantage of people, and people say, oh, you all knew. It was an open secret. And I was like, I don't know if people just don't tell me the open secrets, but I had no idea. So either way, I don't fully understand what's going on, but there's been these kind of backlashes against these beloved women. And I got to tell you, I can tell you, the Queen and Oprah must be shitting themselves, saying, oh no, are we next? Why are people angry? Okay, now I for some reason, I don't know how the image looks to you, but the image on my screen seems very low definition. I don't know why. Show advanced. Okay, let me switch it, see if that fixes it. Does that look better? I think that looks a bit better. Okay. For some reason, it was on low bandwidth. Now it's on high bandwidth. So that's the first thing that I had a voice note about. Let's take a look at the comments. Let's take a look at the people who are in the house. Hello, good to have you here, Daniel Moore. You're very welcome. Hello, Mary Martin. You watch me on TV? Well, you're watching me on the internet right now. Glad you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for being here, Mark Carson. Very, very good to have people from all over the world. It's over 100 here in California. It is boiling everywhere, isn't it? Yes, actually, because of the heat, the panda has decided to have a Hawaiian party, so has got a lei around his neck. Good. Let's keep going through my voice notes, okay? There you go. And Jacqueline Burns says it wasn't low definition, it was soft focus. Either way, I think it probably looks a bit better now because I shifted it from low broadband to high broadband. Oh, why is it still saying that the show is starting? Okay, next up. There's this thing which I wrote a note about this, and I've wanted to talk about it for a little while. I've wanted to talk about the fact that people have pickup delusion. Okay? Pickup delusion. And it's a very odd pickup delusion, right? I've noticed, for example, a lot of people will imagine they can pick up people who they can't pick up, right? I'm sure you've noticed this. They'll be like an old fat man. They'll be in a bar and they'll watch a beautiful woman in a bar walk by and they'll be like, oh, I could take, if I was 10 years younger, I would bang her. And you're just like, doesn't matter how old you are, you never had a chance with her. You never would have, right? But people have this pickup self-delusion where they think they would have done these things. But then at the same time, people have the opposite delusion in that this same person who's seeing someone walk past who looks like a supermodel and saying, oh, if I could just approach, they convince themselves that they could pick this person up. And that same person will have a woman who they work with, who they're attracted to, like a real person. So not like a woman in a bar, but like a real person who they work with every day. And you see them looking at them and you can see they're attracted to them and say, oh, you're pretty attracted to them. And you say, why don't you approach her? And they say, oh, no, I would never have a chance. And it's really the funny thing that when you're out in banter, they will imagine that they can pick anyone up, but then when it's real, they got too shy to approach the person they probably actually have a chance with. So I always thought that was funny. I don't even know what the joke is, but I put a voice note about it after I was out with a few friends, and one of them was really macho out talking about, I'll get her. But then when you asked him about the woman at his office who clearly he had a crush on, he just couldn't speak. So that's one of the things which I had a little note about. Hello. Boylan, what did I call you? Jacqueline, did I say Bolan or something? Excellent. When I say people, I mean men. I don't just mean men. Interestingly, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a woman, and I was talking to her about how I thought she might actually be watching right now, how I thought she was really confident when I first met her because of her job. I won't reveal what her job is. And she was like, no, she's extremely insecure. And she talked me through how she never believed anyone was attracted to her, right? But she could still be in a job which requires everybody to be attracted to you. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. Like, I think a lot of people have this delusions where you will... Anyway, there's a whole... I was not simply speaking about men. I was speaking about all people. Let's go on to the next voice note, which I had. It's a shame my phone has died. I hope it says downloading, do not turn off target. Very, very troubling. Oh, all you see is the reflection. But yeah, it's my phone has totally died because I wanted to be playing you the little voice notes so that you could figure out where they came from. It's done it again. The camera's done it again. Show advanced. Switch. Okay, I don't know what's going on. It keeps flickering. Okay, next, ladies and gentlemen, ignore the technical difficulties and just listen to the jokes and the ideas. Next thing is I wanted to talk about safe, okay? I was talking to a friend of mine, right? The same friend of mine who I was talking about, right? And she said to me, you know, and she meant this as a compliment. Said, oh, Deliso, you're safe. Right? You're someone who, someone who's having a hard time or someone who feels vulnerable can come stay with. I am safe. I am someone who, if you're having problems, you could. And I know they thought it was a compliment, but I was insulted. I was like, I don't want to be safe. Oh, I hate the idea that I'm safe. Right? And it's so funny because I'm sure there's several things like this where it's a compliment, but you don't want that compliment. You don't want women to think you're safe. You don't want people to say you're nice. Oh, he's so nice. Nobody wants to be nice. Nobody wants to be safe. Huh? I could be dangerous. Huh? I could spit in your face or something. I could I really couldn't. I guess I am safe. But it's just such an odd thing how there's some things which are positive, but you really don't want to be thought that way. You want to be dangerous. You want to be unbalanced. All the interesting people are unbalanced. Ex-drug addicts who yell and they've got personality. You don't want to be safe and boring. I guess I'm safe. I actually realized that I envy some things that are not traits you should envy. Like I envy people who can be total dicks. Oh, there's so many times where could I borrow a bit of your dickishness? Like when I'm in a situation where I could take advantage of someone, this is actually something I probably shouldn't admit, and I don't do it because of my morality. The next day I'll be like, I wish I was a dick. The dick would have had a better time last night, right? Or when there's a situation where I'm in a moral quandary where I can make my career get better by sort of backstabbing someone. I'm someone who wouldn't do it because I feel it's the wrong thing, but later I'll be like, I wish I could borrow a bit of dickishness. I don't want to be safe. Also, when I think of all the most successful people I know, right? None of them are safe, right? They're all people who backstab people on the way up, told lies about people if they had to get ahead, and maybe that doesn't make them nice people, but damn, makes them successful. I wish I could be more dickish. Let's keep going. Okay, Mary Martin says, you have to be honest. When you saw me on TV, you started watching because you thought I was good looking. Then you heard my jokes. Oh, Mary Martin, I'm blushing. Game on. Okay, where in the world are you? I'm going to come visit you. Hey, hello, Pelagia. Good to see you, Pelagia Mupesa. Hi, back to you. Okay, let's move on. Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the next thing, which now this is actually something which has just been on my mind because I was discussing on the phone with someone about Kamala Harris. If you're not aware, Biden has said that if in America he does end up winning the election, he's going to have Kamala Harris as his vice president. And it was very interesting because I was talking to someone who didn't like her. He didn't like her and said one of the reasons she didn't like her is because she was a flip-flopper, right? She'd taken one viewpoint in the past, then taken another viewpoint in the past, and she did not like the idea of someone who flip-flops. And I always thought that's really interesting to me because when I think of politicians, when I think of people who I want to be running a country, I actually oddly think that I do not think sticking to your principles no matter what is what you want in a leader, okay? Because the idea is this: if you are in an independent struggle and you need to tear down some evil, you need someone who sticks to their principles. So if they're caught and tortured, they don't give up. You need one of those people. I think there's certain things where you need someone who sticks to their principles no matter what. But I actually think that politics, right? And I say this having lived in politician households, right? Several members of my family are in politics. The best politicians are the ones who can change their minds, who can compromise. It's not sexy at all. It's not sexy at all, right? The sexy one is the Braveheart freedom, the person who's not giving in, who disagrees with you, and I will never bend to you. But that's not going to work because in governments, you got to try and deal with people. You hate each other, and somehow you have to fight. And also, this friend was talking about how is she working with him now? She criticized him a lot in the past. How is she working with Biden now? She criticized him a lot in the past. I think it's the same thing. It's like the sticking to your principles person is not very useful in most political situations. I personally believe, right? I believe it's about compromise. Also, would you want to be friends with someone who doesn't bend, right? So if you are like, hey, let's go out for a curry. And they're like, no, let's eat Chinese food. And then you're like, okay, but what if we go to that restaurant which has, it has Malaysian food and it's got something a little for you, a little for me. No, I want what I want and I'm not compromising. They'd be like, no, but what if, no, I want what I want and I'm not compromising. These people are useful in certain situations, but you know what? I'm not even sure where the joke is going to come from that, but I definitely think that sticking to your principles, we always say it's a good thing, but it might not actually be a good thing when you have to deal with people who have vastly different opinions. Okay, let's move on to the next thing, which I think I have to start writing about. I haven't yet written the joke. This is more like I'm just airing what I'm going to be discussing over the next few weeks, next month or so. I and lots of other people during COVID have had to think about what if you have to start again, okay? Because a lot of our careers are on pause. A lot of sectors are ground to a halt, right? Such as artists, people who are in live entertainment, people who, if you, let's say you run a cinema and they've had to lay off a lot of people. There are a lot of situations where you're like, what if you have to start again? Like, let's say we're all hoping that in 1 or 2 months, things are gradually going to reopen. Old life is going to resume, maybe by the end of the year, beginning of next year. But imagine it doesn't come back, right? Imagine, for example, live entertainment as we know it does not recover. It puts people like me in a situation where you're like, what if I have to start again? What if I have to look at what I've been doing for the past 20 years and say, no, guess none of that's working. And then I have to start applying for new jobs, have to start going down a new path, have to start, getting the old university books and say, can I still program C++? I wonder, do I still know what an algorithm is? It's just one of those things where it's always hard to start again. Like, I know somebody who went through a terrible divorce. And afterwards, he had to start again. He had to, it was very funny actually, he had to ask his son to show him how Tinder works. Not to be fair, he should not have asked his son. Why didn't he ask me or one of his friends? But he asked his son because his son was like, can you show me how this Tinder thing works? And you have to learn the tools of survival once more. A lot of us may have to start again. Put in the comments if you're in a job where you are facing the prospect that it might not come back and how you think you're going to start it again. My plan, if comedy doesn't work out, I'm going to become a journalist, right? Because I can write, I can observe things, but I'll be a funny journalist. So if in like 2 years you're reading, the New York Times or the Guardian or something like that, and you read an article and you're like, this is very accurate, but it's making you laugh. Probably me, because I won't do it as Deliso Chapanda, because I still might come back as a comedian. I'm going to create a pseudonym, and I'm going to become a journalist. So when you laugh when reading the newspaper, it might be me. Okay. Next up, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? How are we doing in the house? Chala Ruba says, true, for the world to run, you have to be willing to take the middle ground. Yes, you do. And the middle ground it doesn't make a good Hollywood movie. It doesn't make a good novel. You're not going to read a novel about the compromiser, but it makes for a functional society. You know what I mean? Exactly. Jacqueline Boylan, your mom used to say a compromiser where no one gets what they want. This is entirely true. You get half of what you want. You heard that Russians came up with a vaccine, many countries in line to get some. Well, so did Madagascar. So let's wait until there's actual confirmation, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Jacqueline Boland, you're tied into a franchise, so you have to believe it will come back. Hopefully it will come back. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to the next subject. This is actually one which I have started writing the joke, and I do think it's I realized, I gotta admit this, I kind of miss Katie Hopkins on social media, right? She was one of the people who had a lot of toxic views, said a lot of racist things, that has been banned from most social media. I think she had her Twitter account locked up. She had a Facebook account locked up. And I remember, I actually got to tell you, I always used to value being able to see what the prejudiced attitude is. You know what I mean? Something would happen in the world and I'd be like, oh, right. And I'd read all the sensible people who I believe and agree with. And I'd be like, let's see what this nutter thinks. And it would give me a little bit of insight into the bigoted view. And I actually think Twitter is making a mistake by banning people who have these very prejudiced views, because we need to know what they're thinking. We need to be able to understand the bigoted people, and just chasing them away from platforms doesn't mean they're not still having their bigoted views. It just means they're having them and we don't know what they are. In fact, they might even be planning something. Just saying, whatever they're planning, I doubt it's good. They're meeting in secret and they're planning something. Now, if they were still on social media, you could see from their tweets little clues that they're planning things. I just got to say, I miss the banned Twitters. Okay? Not just Katie Hopkins, right? All the people who've been banned. I miss them. I miss them. I want to be able to read David Duke's messed up thoughts, right? Just so I know what the racists are thinking. Like when things like Black Lives Matter demonstrations going on, I would read all the people who I agree with. But I actually think I would gain more insight by then going and reading what the racists have to say. I'm part of a Facebook group called British Politics, which isn't really British politics. It should be renamed British Right-Wing Rants, right? Where if you're part of this group, a lot of people go on right-wing rants, and I just watch, and it gives me an insight into how they think. I wouldn't want it to be gone just because they say some insane things. Like Reddit banned a lot of people, got rid of like a group called Gender Critical, got rid of all these groups who they felt had views which were extremist or were too right-wing. And I always think it's better to have them there so you can read them. I guess people are like, they don't want them to be influencing people, but people are going to be influenced anyway. So I don't know what you think, but I miss them. I miss them. I should send her like a letter saying, I miss you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next one. Oh, there's only one left. There's only one left. Okay, hello, everyone. Hello to you, Barbara. Good to have you in the house. You have to call her up and ask her. That's true. I need to call up and say, what's been your, I miss your racism. What's your recent racist thoughts? Excellent. You saw racists planning to break into mosque in the wake of Lee Rigby. Exactly right. Because they were on social media, they would discuss their plans and it would give us a little bit of warning. Oh, that's what they're planning. You have a question, Barbara Nardini. I'm almost going to do the last joke of the day, so ask your question right now. You've got. I will do the last joke, last subject, and then I will address your question. So type it now. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. Final thing I wanted to talk about. Again, this is a very funny conversation we had. Again, often the voice notes are just things that happen in conversation that after the conversation, I record myself talking about because I think they're interesting. And the thing that happened recently is I was talking to a friend of mine about cam models because she knew somebody who was a cam model. You know, they do adult cam modeling and felt like this person is not attractive enough to be a cam model and they don't understand how this person is a cam model. Well, I hate to be the one to tell you that cam modeling is not like normal modeling, right? Normal modeling, there's a certain body type, there's a certain global idea of what is beautiful, which you are pressured to look like in order to do well in that scene. Cam modeling is not the same. Cam modeling does not matter what you look like, right? There was always going to be someone on the internet who you are what they are into. What cam modeling is more about is it's about willingness to do perverted things. If you are stunning and shy and you are homely but willing to do whatever bizarre fantasies people who log on have, you will make a lot more money, right? Because these people are on the internet. They could watch the most beautiful people by clicking and typing in a name. They are not after that. They're after some weird niche stuff. Right? I say this again because I know a cam model who has told me some of the bizarre requests she's got. And she actually kind of revealed to me the secret to making a relationship last forever. Okay? So I'm going to share it with you. She told me about a person who had a weird fetish. Now, I don't want to tell you exactly what their fetish is, but let me remix it, okay? She told me about a person who wanted her to dress up as a chicken and to cluck. And what did to cluck and drop a chicken? That wasn't it, but it was something as bizarre as that, right? And I was like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. I hope you didn't do it. And she was like, no, I did it, right? She did it. She ordered the costume. She dressed as a chicken. She clucked. And she's made more money off that client than anybody else. Because if someone has got a weird fetish and you are the only person willing to do it and not laugh in their face, they are going to be faithful to you. They're going to send you gifts. They're going to be addicted to you because you're the only person who feels them, makes them feel unashamed. And we were talking about relationships, and she actually said she thinks there's a thing like that. Everybody's got something like that when you're in a relationship with them. They've got something they're ashamed of, something they're not proud of. If you can make them feel accepted and unjudged for whatever their weird perversion or their weird proclivity is, they're never going to break up with you. Right? Even if you end up hating, they're like, I'm not going to break up with them because they might tell someone that I like them to dress up in a chicken and cluck. Think about it. Sometimes you'll see a couple who've been married for 22 years and you'll say, oh, look at that beautiful relationship. Don't think that. Maybe one of them just has lots of dirt on the other one and they're never going to break up because they know that they're going to tell everybody their freaky fantasies. So that's what I've got to say about that. Now, before we end the show, let me take a look at what the question. Okay, Barbara Nadine asked, who is volunteering for this COVID vaccine? I am not currently volunteering for this COVID vaccine, but I'm sure there are other people who will volunteer. I assume it's probably going to be young, fit, healthy people who would be low risk anyway. I'm 40. I'm slightly overweight. I don't think that I would be a person volunteering to try out the COVID vaccine because I assume first, I don't know anything, but I assume first you'd have to take. Anyway, I think you want healthy people to test vaccines. And what am I drinking? I'm just drinking a smoothie. This is what's over here, a smoothie. Acceptance is key success to a relationship, you suppose. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Coronacast Comedy Show. Of course, I did not write much today because it was hot and sweaty. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to write tomorrow's episodes tonight when it's cool because, I did not feel like writing anything. So I hope you've enjoyed my random, ranting, less written episode. Like yesterday's episode was jokes I'd written. This was just me talking on tangents. As I said, you never know what you're going to get with the Coronacast Comedy Show. Every episode is a little bit different. It will be back tomorrow. Hope you're all doing well. Have a very good night. Ciao. Oh, by the way, any of you who watch me doing the gaming on twitch.tv/Deliso Chaponda, I will be gaming in around half an hour. I'll start at 8 p.m. British Standard Time, and I'll be there for around 2 hours, just playing some games, answering some questions, and if you cheer, you can request jokes. Bye.